Skill number 1 is to be able to commune directly with your 75 trillion cells. So you're in communion with those cells so that you can feel the language of your cells that love you talking to you. I'm not going to say more because it's pretty juicy when we do it. Skill number 2 is about having the absolutely full multidimensional experience of all your senses, of all your three-dimensional senses. So what if you could eat a mango, but you weren't just experiencing the 3D mango. You were actually experiencing all the nuances of that mango. And what if you walked around and you ate like that all the time? What would change in your eating habits as well? You would have to slow down because it takes some presence to actually start to experience your food that way. What if you've had this, I'm sure you've had this. You know those times where colors seem brighter to you and things seem more alive? It's almost like you see people glowing. In fact, even the ability to see auras is in skill number 2, part of it. What if we could do that? And what if it didn't take years of living on a mountaintop to do that, right? What if when you touch something, you could actually feel every aspect of that thing, where it came from, the entire history, that like this smile came across your face, because it's like, holy cow. What if you could hold someone's jewelry and you could feel the entire history of it, where it was, who loved it, and your touch became this amazing tactile experience? Do you think if you could see all of this, you would have a lot more fun with life? You'd start, I don't want to say trusting it, but having, I don't like the word trust so much because there's trust and not trust. More like having the confidence, because you can truly see, you can truly smell. You're hearing beyond your ears. You're hearing all the way back into Lady Gaga's history that would even have her write that music and why it's so alive and why we want to do it and where that all came from, right? So, and you're feeling the whole richness of the entire experience. Now some people, for instance, have such an, when someone else is embodied and they have many of their innate abilities alive and well in them, some people actually, let's say, activate you even though you don't have all of those embodied yet. So if you listen to Beethoven or Mozart or Jimi Hendrix play guitar or anything like that, you would feel their genius. You could feel the genius, right? You could feel the depth. And you can hear multidimensionally for them because they actually created the music from multi-dimensions. You with me? Mm-hmm. But what if you could do that with everything? Right? Things would get very, very clear. So that is dimension number 2. It's very cool. Skill number 3 is in the second dimension, or your second strand of DNA, and what it's about is about marrying the higher and the lower. In other words, it's about bringing heaven to earth rather than living out in heaven. You know how sometimes we take ourselves out. And what happens is, how powerful do you get when you're actually bringing this to this? What does that look like? What happens when there's no more, when we're not interested in masculine and feminine? Well, we become human. And human has access to all of that, and it doesn't need to delineate between the two. It doesn't define them both. Now, does that mean you become androgynous? Absolutely not. What it means is something different. What it means is you have access to the traits of the masculine and feminine, but you don't have to delineate them. They're just the traits of being human. You know what I'm saying? You no longer need the right and the wrong, the better and the worse, all that kind of stuff. So it's the bridging back together of all the duality. And the fourth skill is around marrying your right and left brains. The receiving and the creating. It's very, very cool. So, next is the third strand of DNA, which is your pineal gland. And the two skills associated with that are really meshing with your pineal gland, understanding the portal that lies inside, and witnessing it. There's also understanding the communication of your integral portal, like how that integration portal works, and watching it, being able to observe what happens. There's really nothing. It's the only. They're the only two skills that don't really require a lot of your participation, because they do it without you. You know, you don't need to participate in it. That particular skill doesn't really expand. It just happens. So the next two are around nature. One is experiencing flora and fauna the way the Druids did, in total communion. And the next is being able to communicate directly with all of that. So far so good? Get me? Yeah? Cool. So the next one is strand 5, and that is being able to go direct with your consciousness. And instead of living in shoulds, it's living in what's in the highest. And being able to know what that feels like, what that language sounds like. And also, of course, my all-time favorite thing is doing what presents. Becoming a master of that. So, the next couple are being able, this is another one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites because it's what we do. Okay, guys, what if you could go beyond this room? You could simultaneously take your consciousness beyond this room. Or if you have clients, imagine being able to simultaneously be way up above and seeing the full picture of it, and at the same time being in your body and knowing exactly what to say, exactly what to do, exactly how to be, to actually move the energy of any struggle, any conflict, any communication. Be able to redirect it from 30,000 feet, simultaneously being in your body. Is that cool or what? I love that. But then again, that's what we're doing here, right? So, and the 11 and 12 have a lot to do with each other, and that has to do with your higher self. The next one is around integrating fully with your higher self, and number 14 is around to be able to see, feel, and hear energy. See, feel, or hear. It depends on what your makeup is, but you actually will be able to see the little floaty things that I see, and you'll be able to sense the little things ripping across the room all over the place in here, and you'll be able to see all the deities that are the reason why I can't see a lot of your faces, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So next is bringing basically manifestation, but not manifestation from the ego mind. Actually witnessing manifestation and understanding exactly how it happens and how the immaterial comes into the material, but actually doing it. Next is, of course, bending time, which means that, which is very cool. You basically get into a vortex and there's no time.
Or it saves you.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, spontaneous healing. So there's two things around spontaneous healing. One is witnessing and participating in spontaneous healing in your own body, but also finding your cosmic age. So the next one is, all right, it's around meaning and purpose. Skill 19 is discovering and integrating with your piece of the puzzle of heaven and earth. It's like being the piece of your puzzle. The next one is complete basically being able to bring the past into congruence in one fell swoop. So retroactively upgrading everything that's ever happened to you, including past lifetimes. Skill 21 is, it's not really a skill, it's a state. It's a state of unconditional love, where you just walk around that way. You just walk around in a state of unconditional love with everything. Like as if nothing gets you. Skill 22 is around integrating with the masters. It's not about having a master. It's about being facilitated by the masters in such a way that eventually you don't even need to know who the masters are. It's simply a walk with them and then expanding upon. See, any master I've ever communed with has always, without exception, said, masters are not here to get you to where they are. They're actually here, that's a starting point. A true master actually is asking you to go far beyond them. Take it and fly. And that's what Buddha, Krishna, Jesus, all of them, Babaji, are like, go, fly, expand. Are you kidding me? This is about heaven on earth. Why do you think we even came here? What's the point? Last two skills, the last 23 is finding peace with any situation and then the action to take from a place of neutrality. So it's about being able to be in neutrality in any situation. And the last one is having the eyes of creation. In other words, being able to see the big picture of absolutely anything and seeing the wisdom that's flowing and stepping out of the way of you, literally seeing it in such a big picture that you have absolutely no desire to manipulate or control, because you get that your job is to hear and be in contribution and be in the present. Your job is actually not to change things so that you feel more comfortable. Right? Everything making sense? So that's it. That's where we start. And then, of course, there's 6 new innate abilities, plus 1 that I'm adding. And those are all ones that have come since last year's innate abilities course.
Thank you for watching this Innate Abilities preview video. For more information on the Innate Abilities program, please visit www.thewideawakening.com/innate.